Hey all, this is Andy from Tennis with Andy. So today I'm going to go over the men's Australian Open draw. I'm just going to go over the first round. It's looking to be a really exciting tournament. Not sure who, I think I know who I'm going to pick to win, but there are a lot of open space for people to be number two. But let's go. So first round, Rafa versus Jack Draper, and I think Rafa has a pretty awful draw. So I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Rafa's gonna lose in the first week. I'm gonna pick this upset right now. Jack Draper is a tough lefty, serves big, ranked 40th in the world, and I think if Rafa loses, then he has a tough second round in either Brandon Nakashima or Mackie McDonald. So I'm picking Draper. So next, Nakashima and McDonald. Probably Nakashima. He has a really clean two-hander. Actually, they both have really clean two-handers, but I just kind of like Nakashima a little bit more in terms of power. People who I don't know, I'm just kind of skip. Munar versus Strichina. I have no idea who he is. I'm picking Munar. Emer versus Nishioka. Nishioka is a tough out. I'm going to say Nishioka. Khachanov versus Zapata Miralles. Khachanov. Baez versus Kubler. Baez, I've seen him a couple times playing well. Oscar Ote versus Shang. I'm not sure who Shang is. Ote is pretty tough on fast courts, so I will give Ote the win for that one. Altmaier versus Tiafoe. Tiafoe's been playing big. He played really well in that mixed tournament, so I'm picking Tiafoe there. Prakash will beat Martinez. Sonego versus Borges. Sonego. Escobedo versus Taro Daniel. Probably Taro Daniel. He I think I seem to watch him play Murray a lot, and he usually does well. So I'm picking Daniel there. Dusan Lajovic versus Denis Shapovalov. Shapo, if he, I'm not sure what racket he's using now, but I think Shapo, if he plays this game, he's going to come out. Korda versus Garin. Korda for that one. Watanuki versus Rinderknecht. I'll go with Arthur for that match. Millman, the Australian, versus Huesler. Unsure, but I always pick the hardworking Australian, so I'm going with Millman in that one. This one, Giron versus Medvedev. It's an awful draw for Mark. And I think Medvedev is just going to be too tiring, too strong for this one, so I'm picking Medvedev. And if Rafa makes it through to quarters, that's who he meets in quarters. I mean, it's just really an awful draw for Rafa. Tsitsipas versus Kenton Alice. I'm picking Tsitsipas. I think he's my dark horse, if you could call the number 3 seed a dark horse, to win this, but I think I'm picking Tsitsipas to go all the way. Hanfmann versus Hijikata. I have no idea who both of these guys are. So Griekspoor versus Kotov. Taylor Griekspoor. Ivashka versus Botic van der Sloot. Picking Ivashka. Van der Sloot hasn't really impressed me the last year plus since he had that breakthrough year. Musetti versus Harris. Musetti. Coria versus Fucsovics. Not sure. Toss up. I'll probably go with Fucsovics on that one. Echeverry versus Barrer. Echeverry, just because I know that name. I'm not sure who's going to win that one. Kyle Lundman versus Sinner. I think this is a toss-up, actually. I mean, they both hit the ball quite hard. And who knows? Maybe it'll be Sinner's breakthrough year. My friend Corey really likes him, so I'll pick Sinner. Cam Norrie versus Van Asche. I'm going to pick Norrie. Norrie is one of those players who I feel like you lose to, and then you're like, how did I lose this match? I mean, he's just such an interesting guy to watch. So Monteiro versus Listien. Not sure. Eubanks, Chris Eubanks versus Kwan. I'll go with Kwan. Eubanks seems to be a little bit hit or miss with his ground strokes. Lehechka versus Koric. Go with Koric. Cherundolo versus Peya. Not sure for that one. Absolutely not sure. Mute versus Wu. Probably Mute. I like his variety. Mokan versus Wawrinka. Never bet against Stanislas, so I'll go with Stanislas. Vacek's Pospisil versus Auger-Aliassime. I mean, this is a tough first round too, pitting two Canadians against each other. Hopefully, FA doesn't have the little brother syndrome against Pospisil. So I think FA is younger. Someone fact check me on that one. I'm going to pick FA on that one. Awful draw for Rublev. He's facing Team. I think he's going to be too much for Team, but that one could go to 5 sets. Purcell versus Rusevori. Picking Rusevori on that one. Galan versus Chardy. I didn't know Chardy was still around. I'll go with Daniel for that one. Bagnis versus Evans. Evans is a solid game. I think solid on fast like grass course. I think will translate into the hard course as well. So picking Evans. Kyrgios versus Safiullin. I'm picking Nick, but that's Nick with a question mark. I haven't really seen him play recently, and it all depends on which Nick Kyrgios shows up. Gasquet versus Humbert, the two French guys. Tough one. I'm going with Humbert. Gasquet looked a little bit gassed when he was playing Giron in that tough 3-set match. So the longer this match goes, I'm going to go with the younger guy to take the win. Cressy versus Vignolas. I'm going with Cressy. Holger Rune versus Krajinovic. Holger Rune. Carino Busta versus Kashin. Probably Carino Busta. Bellucci versus Bonsai. Not sure who Bellucci is, but I'll go with Bonsai. Isner versus Manarino. I'm not sure if it's really an upset now, but I'll pick Manarino for this one. He's he's one of those pushers, really annoying pushers that I feel could take down the giant. So Sue versus De Minaur. I love watching Alex play, so picking De Minaur. Dimitrov versus Karatsev. I haven't ever since 2020 maybe. I think Karatsev has just sort of been middle of the road player. I'm picking Dimitrov on this, but I really would like to see Karatsev play well. Bergs versus Dejere Laszlo. Kouakou versus Delian. I don't know who this guy is. I'm just gonna pick Delian. Then Carballes Benya versus Djokovic. So Novak. Novak is my second favorite for this. I'm picking Tsitsipas to win, as I mentioned. So I think we're in the bottom quarter of the draw. So Fritz versus Basilashvili. That's gonna be break the radar gun on ground strokes in that match. I'm picking Taylor, but it's gonna be hard hitting fun. Sang versus Poprin. I'll give it to Poprin playing at home. Blake Shelton versus Zhang. Blake really had a good year last year. I look for him to keep on improving. Jarry versus Kecmanovic. Kecmanovic last year, if you remember, Kecmanovic was the one who benefited from Novak not being allowed to play in the Australian Open, and I think he rode all the way to 3rd or 4th round. So really strong run last year, and I'm looking for him to make a decent run this year too. Schwartzman versus Cruciu. Go with Diego. The guy who used to be the mullet guy, JJ Wolf versus Jordan Thompson, the mustache guy. I'm going with the mullet guy, JJ Wolf. So Goffin versus Lokoli, probably Goffin. Varillas versus Zverev. Toss up. just because I'm not sure whether Sasha's fully back. I'm still gonna go with Sasha, but I think he's gonna lose probably second round to Goffin. Berrettini versus Murray. I mean, why do they keep on giving Andy these tough draws? I mean, I'm gonna go with Berrettini. I think Murray, the longer Murray pushes the smash, I think the better chance he has. He just has to be able to find Berrettini's backhand pretty consistently. Kokkinakis versus Fognini. It's good to see Kokkinakis healthy and playing well. So go with Thanasi. Vukic versus Holtz. So Holtz is Tracy Austin's son, I believe. So Vukic is, I've never heard of him, but it's a local guy, Australian. So I'm going to pick Holtz. I think he had a pretty good run at the US Open last year. So let's see if he could continue this strong stretch. Sousa versus Bautista Agut. Go with Bautista Agut. Bublik versus Davidovich Fokina. There are going to be a lot of underhand serves here from Bublik, but I'm picking Fokina to win. Struff versus Paul. Struff, hey, big server, but I like the consistency of Tommy on this one, so Tommy Paul. Chris O'Connell versus Brooksby. Haven't heard much of Brooksby recently. I'm going to go with the hometown guy, Chris O'Connell. And last, Machek versus Ruud Casper, number 2 seed, to take the first round. Wow, that was a mouthful. So tomorrow I'm going to try to do the women's draw, and just remember, let's see, Diadem, the Elevate V3, I believe the release date is tomorrow, so check it out. I still haven't demoed it. Maybe I'll demo it in the next week or so. All right, this is Andy from Tennis with Andy. Play smart and see results.